Some numbers have square roots that simplify to be whole numbers. For example, the square root of 9 is 3, or the square root of 25 is 5. Those are what we call perfect squares. But when you're trying to simplify the square root of a number that is not a perfect square, sometimes what we can do is break the number into parts, into factors, so that hopefully we'll be able to simplify the square root of one of those factors. For example, 50 is not a perfect square. There's not a natural number multiplied by itself that equals 50. However, we can take 50 and split it up into the square root of 25 and the square root of 2. By doing this, we've split it up in such a way that even though we can't simplify the square root of the entire thing, we can simplify the square root of one of the factors. The square root of 25 is 5, and then the part that we can't simplify, the square root of 2, we leave alone. So we can simplify the square root of 50 to be the square root of 5 times the square root of 2. Now, if we had split up 50 into something such as, say, the square root of 10 times the square root of 5, that wouldn't help us because we can't simplify the square root of 10 or the square root of 5. The goal when you're trying to split up a square root into two square roots is to be able to simplify one of the parts. So essentially what you're looking for is to see if the number has a factor that is a perfect square, like 4, 9, 16, 25, and so on. For example, suppose we have the square root of 18. We want to try to split this up into two square roots so that one of the square roots is the square root of a perfect square. So again, we're looking for a number like 4, 9, 16, 25 that is a factor of 18. And in this case, we could split up 18 into 9 and 2. So the square root of 18, making it the square root of 9 times the square root of 2, now that we've done that, we can simplify the first square root. The square root of 9 simplifies to be 3. The part we can't simplify, we leave alone. So our result is 3 square root of 2. Or if we have the square root of 20, a perfect square that is a factor of 20 would be 4. So we can split this up into the square root of 4 times the square root of 5. The square root of 4 simplifies to be 2. We leave the part we can't simplify alone, so we have 2 square root of 5. If you'd like to try the next two problems on your own, pause the video now and resume when you're ready to see the solution. 27 is not a perfect square, but we can simplify it by splitting it up into two parts. Here, a perfect square that goes into 27 would be 9. We can split the square root of 27 into the square root of 9 times the square root of 3. And then the square root of 9 is 3. So 3 square root of 3 ends up being the answer. For the square root of 125 is a bigger number, but you may be able to notice 25 is a perfect square that is a factor of 125. And it turns out it goes in there 5 times. So we split this up into the square root of 25 times the square root of 5. The square root of 25 is 5, so 5 times the square root of 5 is our answer.